Hi, my name is Praveen Sparsh. I play the Mridangam and I play a few other percussion instruments and I also produce music. Um, and I try to uh, kind of find a place for the Mridangam in different contexts and try to do it in unusual settings. And that's primarily the body of work that I do. And I'm so happy to be a part of this wonderful podcast. You're listening to Stalwarts of Music.
Hi Praveen, Namaskaram. Welcome to Stalwarts of Music with Aditya Veera, Season 5. It is such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Namaskaram. Thank you so much for having me. Truly means a lot.
Which part of India are you in right now?
I live in Chennai,
Okay.
born and raised in Chennai, and yeah, that's where I operate from. But we do travel, and but I always love to come back to Chennai.
Okay, beautiful. I would like to start this discussion talking about your EP, Unreserved, right? You try to emulate the everyday city soundscape, wherein one can hear some biryani vendors calling out, auto rickshaws humming as part of the music. So when you play the structured mathematical rhythms of this tradition, over the unpredictable urban sounds, does the environment influence how you shape these rhythms, or does the mridangam naturally organize the chaos into a tala?
Right. So there's like a short story as to why I made this album,
Yeah.
and maybe I can just start there. So
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated with sound. So I used to just collect a lot of samples. At that point,
Yeah.
the H1 was very popular, so I used to carry that everywhere and just sampled a lot of sounds. And I loved listening to it. It was almost like say we're working on a long recording project, I used to just listen to sounds, and for some
Okay.
reason it was very therapeutic for me.
Hmm.
And then I was just, and I think in life I was also in a place where I was traveling quite a bit, and I was exposed to different cultures and different people and different perspectives. And I kind of understood that the mridangam was very comfortable in certain settings,
Hmm.
say in a sabha or in a concert hall, whereas the mridangam is not so comfortable, say in the streets, or there are certain settings where the mridangam is not comfortable, and I'm not comfortable. And I was trying to find the reason as to why that was happening.
Hmm.
And probably this gave me a bridge where I kind of sampled certain unusual settings,
Hmm.
probably uncomfortable settings for the mridangam, and came back and started placing it a certain way.
Okay.
There was an ambient layer, of course, which is just doing
Hmm.
its own magic, and I'm not touching that. But there are certain elements where I chopped and made certain things out of it, and then played the mridangam over it. And to answer your question, I think the mridangam does react differently, and that was, in fact, the most satisfying outcome of that album or that EP, I would say,
Hmm. Hmm.
because my brain was giving me different signals when I heard the same Adi Talam or like a Mr. Chapu or whatever it is. My brain was also processing the honking or the biryani or whatever it is, and which is giving me slightly different cues. Obviously, it's not like a complete paradigm shift in terms of the math,
Hmm.
because we do have very structured ways of how we develop an idea in Carnatic music. And I didn't change that a lot because there's already something that's abstract. So I wanted something that's concrete to be on something that's abstract so that the experience is somewhat meaningful to
Hmm.
myself. So I didn't change the math, I would say, but the way that flowed or the context in which, say, a pattern appeared, I would say really changed when I started playing with these samples.
Super. Based on what you just said, I'm sure, having a traditional classical instrument such as the mridangam, you change the type. I'm sure there are different types of mridangams that you play to match your accompaniments, right? Be it like a nadaswaram or a veena or a singer for that matter. At the same time, there is this whole traditional hierarchy in Carnatic music, where the percussive element is treated as a secondary instrument, right? So, does adjusting your sound to suit others make you seem less important, or is the flexibility that is what actually that creates that equality in collaboration for you?
I feel okay, wherever there is structure and wherever there's form, there is going to be hierarchy, right? And then
Mm.
it's just how
Yeah,
you take any form that's going to be there.
right.
But I'm just really grateful that I was part of this, or I am still part of this traditional setting. I do play very small temple concerts still, just to uh, there's something very special about being a collaborator on a Carnatic music stage.
Mm.
With the hierarchies in place, with whatever is in place, things are also changing there. There are conversations that are happening there, and say my peers or like people from my age group are seeing it slightly differently. So sometimes there is an osmosis of energy that's happening that's slightly more democratic. So it is still happening in the traditional space. But to answer your question, I think the fact that I freelance, I collaborate with a lot of musicians, and each collaboration puts you in a different uh, point, right?
Right.
That's the most fascinating thing because you try to give your best, or you try to find meaning, or you try to bring in value
Mm.
from where you're placed. Some, like, for example, if the output just needs you to play a 5 minute solo in a 2 hour show, and that's your role, then that 5 minutes is very different from, say, a Taniyavartanam that I play in a kacheri, which is 25 minutes long.
Yeah.
So I think time, stage, context, scale of the festival, artists, all of these things I feel are parameters for you to think. It just
Mm.
opens up something else, and I love challenges like that, and it kind of puts you in different places, and I think that's one of the main reasons I still wake up excited, right? So each day is like different. You're playing with the different artists, and yeah, I think I kind of like even I don't think we can remove hierarchies, right? That's not
Mm.
going to happen. So the fact that you should fight for certain things, that I'm not saying it's okay to be wherever you are, but the fact that these things exist, and if there's conversation and dialogue, and then you're able to find meaning in what you're doing, I think it's a good place to be in.
Nice. In a context like Mahindra Percussion Festival, where you are going to be the spotlight, what do you have in terms of presentation? What is the context of music? Is it going to be just you, or you have a bunch of people who are going to be accompanying you?
Yeah, I have an insane lineup of artists, and
Okay.
I'm so happy to be making music with them. I will list out their names and what they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
We have Lakshman Arvind playing the bass,
Hmm.
and we have Mailai Karthikeyan playing the Nadaswaram,
Right.
and then we have Deepan playing the Parai,
Okay.
Yadavan playing the Satti Melam, and Kalai Selvam playing the Urumi and Pambai,
Mm.
and we have Kacha playing the Dolak. And they all come from very different backgrounds, which is the most exciting part of this union, I would say. And I think I try to operate in that zone when, someone gives me the opportunity and the power to do something like this. I make sure that the collaboration is not something that's usual. Like you have a starting point and then let's get together and jam and figure out something. It's something that we do anyway. But for a percussion like Mahindra Percussion, where they are so open to having original music to begin with,
Yeah.
and music that is, percussion centric,
Mm.
I think this is probably the best setting for someone to just go and express freely. So, yeah.
And does this have a particular theme in terms of the music? What is it going to sound like?
It has all the tracks from Unreserved,
Okay.
to begin with, and it has four other tracks that I've just been working on. It doesn't have an EP or any name. It's just a bunch of singles that I've been working on.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's
Nice.
the theme of the performance, and each song will have a section where, say, the dolak is being explored. That's the space where the mridangam and the dolak are having a conversation,
Okay.
and then there's a badass bass section where he's doing a solo, and then stuff like that. Every instrument has a place where it can breathe, and those sections are just free, where the other instruments are kind of playing the accompaniment.
How much of a sensibility does it require for one to comprehend this music, this level of musicianship?
Oh, I feel I would like to believe that you don't have to know anything to actually listen to this music. You don't have to know chord ways or harmony or anything or original music. I think that's the power of percussion. It's so primitive, right?
Mm.
It makes your head move. You just, as long as you are willing to commit to an indulgent experience, it cannot be background music. That much I can say. It is something where, because it's percussion and you have all these players playing, with high energy. As long as you're willing to invest in that energy, I think can be a part of it. I don't think you need to know any, because even if you think of a core way, it's
Yeah.
basically tension and release. We're trying to build something and then there's a release.
Mm.
So if you are participating in it, I think it's definitely going to reach anyone who's interested in music.
Mm. I'm super excited for it. Cannot wait to experience your wonderful set. Uh, in terms of, I was in fact having this interesting conversation last month with percussionist Sridhar Parthasarathi from Mumbai,
Of course.
and we were having this friendly banter about usage of effects in a traditional instrument like mridangam, right? Where have we arrived at that? And yeah, do you see we've advanced a lot in that front?
See, I think effect is basically a tool for you to express, right? So if we look at it that way, I feel, say, running a reverb or a delay
Mm,
for the sake of you getting a different experience, you will get a different experience,
right.
is kind of trivial for me.
Mm,
It's just, oh, it's different. But do you have a story? So basically, are you saying by using a delay, you have a narrative of there's this dialogue between two people, and then you bring in the audience to feel that second person?
yeah.
Then it makes sense. I would say the scope is tremendous, but I think we have not really gotten deeper into what we want to do with it, rather than throwing in effects, which anyway is there. You have, like, once you open Logic, you have hundreds of things that you can just throw into your Mridangam channel, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I feel we've not gotten too deep into that. In fact, there's one song in this set where I'm collaborating with the sound engineer,
Okay.
where there is a narrative as to why there is like a really long delay, like a single shot, and then there's a long delay. And then it kind of, there's an automation of this effect. And
Mm,
I feel there's a reason for this, right? And I do have a reason as to why this is happening and which instrument gets that delay and that reverb. So I'm not saying I've like cracked it, but I feel this feels more natural to me rather than thinking of effects as some exotic seasoning that you can, throw in.
yeah. Yeah. But what might some of the challenges be when you have something like playing around with delay, when you have an instrument like this?
I don't think there are any challenges per se. It also depends on, if you're making a track, then it's way easier. You
Yeah.
can even record dry and then add the effect later. But
Yeah.
when you're playing live, I think it's fun because you are playing. It's almost like you have a partner to play with,
Mm,
especially something like delay or something like that. So
right.
I've tried stuff at home.
Hmm.
I've not done that on stage because you do need the best tech and the best kind of equipment for that to convey. So which is the reason, say, I'm trying something like that for the first time
Mm,
when it comes to Mahindra percussion. So yeah, I don't think there are any challenges. The challenge is more to find the reason or to find the
yeah.
story.
Yeah.
It is not the effect, uh, is what I would think.
Got it. Well, talking about your playing style, people often praise how you bring in, tabla style phrases into your mridangam playing, right? Since the tabla and mridangam are built and played differently, are you just copying the sound of the tabla, or do you actually change your playing technique to make those phrases truly fit into the mridangam?
Yeah, do they say that? Who said? I mean, like, I'm just
No,
curious. Did you read it
no.
somewhere?
No, no, no. I mean, I've interacted with a couple of people who've been
Okay,
following your music. So, based on which I came up with this, idea. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I feel this osmosis of knowledge, right, between the North and the South
Yeah.
has happened like three generations before me.
Mm, mm.
My guru is Guruvayu Sridharai sir. His
Right.
guru is Parani Sri Subramaniam Pillai.
Mm.
And if you look at, there are fortunately recordings of his solos online. I'm talking about my guru's guru solo.
Okay. Okay.
And it's very clearly documented that the style has evolved at that point where
Mm.
he has kind of changed a few of his techniques and very clearly mentioned that, I heard the tabla and I was so inspired that I wanted to change the fingering a little bit so that my fingers can move this way and whatever it is. So,
Right.
and I grew up with someone like, you know, god of tabla, like, Zakir Hussain, like
Yeah.
playing all the time. So I think it's just natural for someone like me. And tabla is one side. I grew up listening to tabl also, or
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
grew up listening to the drums and all that. But since you asked this question from the tabla's perspective, I feel I don't stop myself when it comes to expressing something,
Mm.
especially if it's original music. In a Carnatic context, I do have different set of rules that I have for myself. So, but when it comes to original music, it is just, according to me, the most liberating space where I just want to say what I want to say.
Mm.
And that is the place I'm going to play Mridangam like tabla or Mridangam like tabl or whatever it is, because I'm trying to be non-judgmental of myself or what I'm trying to do and
Mm.
see what's going on when I'm just like, experiencing that. So, but there is integrity in terms of what comes before and after.
Right.
Again, what do you want to say? Do I just want to kind of imitate the tabla? That's never the intention.
Right.
But am I taking inspiration from, say, a chakradar and like listening to it and understanding the pattern, and then try to create something like it
Mm.
in a mridangam kind of phraseology, because that's more natural to me, right? I can't be a tabla player. In fact, I don't play the tabla. I don't think I can play the tabla.
Fair.
So, but um, the idea is to be inspired by
Mm.
different styles. I think as a teenager, I think I was just curious about a lot of genres of music, right? So,
Okay.
um, so that has kind of helped me stay curious and try to pick up things and try it out and see how it sounds on the mridangam. Sometimes it doesn't sound good. Sometimes I execute it so badly that I just don't want to go into that zone or try to find a different way of doing it. So, yeah.
Mm. Identity is another thing that identity or the sound where people recognize different instrumentalists with is something that a lot of people work on and they discover it and then they're known for it, right? Like even without actually seeing the person, if someone were to listen to them, they would be able to identify him or her through the mere tone of the instrument. Considering that you change your mridangam depending upon who you're playing with, be it a loud nadaswaram or a soft veena, for instance, if the instrument sounds keep changing, where does the unique Praveen Sparsh style really come from for you?
Right. So I feel people have told me that they were able to identify when
Yeah.
when it comes to the Carnatic setting. Let's keep
Yeah.
some kind of constant so that we have a, because it's very common for, say, me and my friends to listen to a recording and be like, hey, this was played by this artist. Is very common because sometimes we don't get that data.
Mm.
And I think that's where style plays a very important role. So as modern and whatever I sound, I really go by the Pudukkottai Bani, which is my guru's
Yeah.
Bani.
Yeah.
Whatever I do, even if I do unreserved or like, something with the Parai or Satimelam, uh, I don't think I can be anything else. The style of what I want to say, it's like you'll see me wearing a shirt, a kurta, sleeveless something, and whatever it is, but you'll still see the character,
Yeah.
coming out, right? So I feel instruments are like that. They are like your costumes, but what you want to say with that is, I'm again grateful that I've had uh, a really rigorous training when it comes to the mridangam, right? I literally am still learning. I still visit my guru, and so I think that's one positive thing about our Indian system of music, where it's not a course, or it's not like you've completed this or there are no grades. You
Mm.
just keep doing it, and then it's a lifelong learning, and then it's sharing and whatever it is. So, and then if you have one um, defining point, which is bani, which is a very commonly used term in Carnatic music,
Yeah.
if you find yourself really associating with that bani, the more you associate with that, your guru and your bani, whatever you say, even if you try
Mm.
to do like you play for Rabindra Sangeet, and then you find the Mridangam's tone in that,
Mm.
it's just natural for you to like express your bani even through something like that, is
Right.
what I understand.
Right. Talking more about this particular idea that you just mentioned, right? You must have learned your instrument in a traditional Gurukula way, right? By staying close to your guru and learning through that experience.
Yeah.
However, you also teach a lot of people online through YouTube and other mediums. So, how do you balance this deep personal way of learning with teaching through the screen
Right.
today?
Um, One thing is, I think times are changing and it'll keep changing, right? So
Mm.
that's the most natural thing. In fact, I would see this as my guru learned his craft very differently, right? I didn't learn it
Mm.
like him. I
Mm.
still went to school, and then I was dropped at his place. I spent the evening at his place.
Yeah.
And then I came back home. So I didn't technically, stay with
Yeah.
him, though I traveled with him and stuff like that.
Right.
But he moved to his guru's place,
Mm.
right? And then that was a different kind of lifestyle. And then now we do have the internet. We are doing this through, internet.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
I feel the best thing to do is to find the crux of what we want to pass on to the next generation,
Mm.
and focus on that, rather than, I feel internet is basically a tool.
Mm.
But
Mm.
what you want to pass on, like my students, I want them to be passionate about their bani, like,
Yeah.
really understand who they are, like, or what they want to be. More than, I mean, like, I don't do only online sessions. I do have like 8 or 9 students. I don't teach that much, because that's like a responsibility for you to like make sure you give them classes and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, so all of them do come and take physical classes. It's not that they do only online sessions. So I don't do only online sessions. The
Okay.
YouTube thing had a different reason, because it was COVID,
Mm.
and I knew that some people, like someone just told me that they couldn't learn Mridangam because they couldn't afford a Mridangam class.
Oh.
And that hit me hard, like really hard. And I said, like, that's not fair. So I just thought the first set of basic lessons should be free and should be accessible to everyone who has access to at least internet.
Mm. Mm.
And that's the reason those YouTube videos were put out, and it will
Right.
always be free. And if they go through that, then they can find a guru next to them and actually go and take it forward from there. So that there's a different reason as to why I did that.
Makes sense. Uh, a musician might say that real success means being able to make music every day without depending on others and still earning a living from it. So today, a lot of classical musicians often depend on Sabhas, and independent artists depend on streaming revenue and royalties. So, what makes it difficult to stay financially independent while also creating experimental music for that matter?
I don't think there is one solution for this. In fact, it was my guru who gave me my career advice, which is just amazing. So I did the usual engineering,
Yeah.
and then worked with Flextronics. And then I was like telling my guru that, concerts are actually coming up. So, people ask you, especially when you're freelance, you do get inquiries and stuff like that. And then, yeah, before taking up the job, I went to him and I said, I would like to take up music because there are all these opportunities. And
Okay.
he said, I mean, like, you can choose music, but the music industry should choose you if you want to be
Hmm.
part of the, the financial side of things.
Right.
And I was demotivated. I thought I was not good enough, which is why he said that. But I think he made a lot of sense. And his only thing is, if at one point you're not able to work, you just have gigs every day or you have something going on every day, then it makes sense for you to like try it out, is what he said. And always have like a backup is how he kind of put me in this, I would say. And it's
Mm.
worked. So I would say, so I have a particular formula for how I would like to function. There are things um, that I do where, so I've practiced this craft uh, quite a lot, and I just want to show and go deep in like the craft level. And
Mm.
I'm not thinking of anything else, which is where the Sabhas come in, right? True.
Mm. Mm.
Just go there and you're challenged with your math, you're challenged with speed and all of those things. And I do take up concerts just for that. I don't think of anything else. I just have to play with artists whom I, really respect and where I can share the energy. And then there are gigs where you make money. You just don't like, think of anything else, where you take up private gigs or
Yeah.
you do like recordings and like you enter the mainstream in whatever capacity that you want to like enter.
Mm.
And then the third section is where you want to do work where you really have conversations with society, where your art and society kind of have conversations. And usually these are really draining things, right? In
Mm.
terms of
Mm.
executing it or finding gigs or because it's so unusual that people are at first scared, and then people might think it's political or whatever. But you're just like trying to have these small shifts even in your own mind. So for me, this works to have
Mm.
a clear balance of I need to make money. I don't want to be a broke artist. I don't think I can make good music being broke or like being in that whatever. And I need to really hone my craft because that's what has gotten me here.
Mm. Mm.
And the third thing is I want to have conversations because it's, by the way, I tried without the third one, where because at one point I was doing a lot of projects with a social intent,
Yeah.
and it was getting to me like I was just like on it, and it's not easy for you to come out of it, right? Because it affects you. So I tried without the third one, but unfortunately I was not able to function because you do have all these thoughts in your head and you just want some kind of a release or try to make some meaning out of this. So
Mm.
for me, this works as of now. And I still have the plan of if this doesn't work, have a backup, like my guru said.
Nice. In your band Kuvam, you mix Carnatic music with a lot of unorthodox instruments, thereby breaking a lot of social and musical barriers. So, when you did so, did audiences become more open and understanding, or did some traditional listeners still resist this mix?
Oh, I think you do have two groups, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, like traditionalists didn't come up to me and
yeah.
say, this is wrong, don't do it. Because I think I've been doing this kind of work for the past 10 years now, so I'm here to do it
Right.
no matter what. I think people will not come to me and say, don't do this.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
have told me, like, when I started this, as like, why do you want to play the Mridangam with the parai? Like, oh,
Hmm.
that's loud and
Yeah,
this is soft. Like, what
yeah,
is the point?
yeah.
Is one thing that even for unreserved, I know a lot of people ask me, what's the point? Right? So, but I mean, like, I don't know. There's no point. The point is to just, be there. It's a very exciting space
Hmm.
and to maybe have conversations in my head and kind of have certain resolutions and whatever. Um, so they don't come up to me and say it, but if you ask me, is it like being celebrated immediately? I don't think so because I think we're still in that zone of making music kind of palatable because right now to get someone out of their house and come for a live show that's original
Hmm.
is asking for a lot. And the least you can do, unfortunately, is to make palatable music, which is not so not so experimental. Like they want a sure shot experience. You know what I mean? It's instead of a your brain kind of moving in a different way. They want a okay, I need something from this, and then I want to go back. Then that's hard when it comes to collaborations like this because you can't really guarantee. I mean, like, what will you guarantee? Like Mridangam and Parai playing, you can't do anything. The least you can do is to say the groove will do something to you, But yeah, that's what I feel. I don't think it's like our society is ready for an experimental. They would listen to it like as um, music being shared online. I
Mm.
know some people will listen to it and find it exciting, but to because this is a live act, Banquom was never intended to be
Yeah.
just albums or like whatever. It is a proper live act with musicians coming there and jamming and having a. So yeah, I feel we're not ready yet for outfits like that.
And what might some of the gaps be? Is it the attention spans, or is it the sensibilities, or is it like adaptability? What might some of the reasons be for people to start adapting to such modern contexts in a country like India?
I think too many things, right? I mean, definitely attention span because
Yeah.
our songs are usually 10 minutes long.
Right.
And it doesn't have a like a chorus hook kind of a form either. So I think one is attention span and two is having indulgent experiences, right? I mean, like, I understand some people would want to come and sing and clap,
Yeah.
but there's also something deeper that art can deliver, like
Mm.
really open your brain in a very different way, right?
Mm. Mm.
If you go to that level, maybe orientation, like what the first time you heard something and you don't understand the language. So, like the first time, say, I heard Richard Bona like performing and singing,
Nice.
I just started crying. I didn't know what he was singing about.
Yeah.
It was the music and the way he, said, those words and all of those things. So that's the power of art. And I understand I'm an artist and I would want everyone to experience that, right, in some way. So maybe some kind of orientation might help. Some kind of, I feel also there should be some kind of collective where people come together and have abstract experiences,
Mm.
um, and talk about what they feel. Say they listen to Pink Floyd and say, "What is going on? What am I processing at this point?" Is the level at which we should be like dealing with such things is what I feel. I'm talking about Bancom, but if you talk about unreserved, it's not in that zone. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Uh, they don't need to do this.
Mm.
Bancom is like that. It's slightly more indulgent and it's slightly more unconventional.
Yeah. You have an affinity for jazz, and its ghost note sounds that are felt but not clearly heard, right? When it comes to Carnatic music, it usually follows every lyric closely. So when you use these softer hidden notes on the mridangam, how do you fit them into the thala? What is the process?
Oh, we do have ghost notes a lot, even in the Mridangam.
Right,
Just that we don't say it,
right, right.
because, in fact, um, okay, let me give you an example. So, like the most fundamental thing that we practice is called farans. It's like your everyday
Yeah.
fingering kind of exercise. So if you want to do taddum kitatakatakatari kitatakattaddum kitatakatakatari kitatakattaddum 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 kitatakatakatari kitatakatam. So you hear all the strokes, right? And then you keep playing this for 15 minutes, and then you start doing tum kitatakatakatari kitatakattaddum kitatakatakatari kitatakattaddum 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 kitatakatakatari kitatakatam. You just emphasize on one stroke,
Mm.
and then you change that stroke, so on and so forth. So you can choose what you want to like push forward. In fact, you have to choose and make sure that at your will you should be able to push one thing forward and then the rest should just be quieter. So we do have, the concept of ghost notes
Okay.
in Carnatic music, just that we don't say it. We just say, we have Tamil terms because,
Mm.
that's
Mm.
how there's no English in our classroom, right?
Of
So,
course, of course.
there's no concept of ghost notes that way.
Fair. When you prepare for a concert, like Mahindra Percussion, for instance, you plan the amount of energy that you're going to invest into the concert by mentally mapping out how much focus and stamina each piece might require. But Carnatic music, as you know, the beauty of it is it's very spontaneous, and the artist can suddenly change his or her direction, right? So when that happens, does it disturb your plan and make you more anxious, or does it inspire you even more?
Uh, At first, when I was doing shows like this, where I was
Yeah.
just given the task to uh, kind of engage for the next 1.5 hours kind of stuff, I was really nervous
Mm.
because I'm not used to that. The brain is not used to that, right?
Right.
And it's not about time. It's about every second you feel really anxious. You're like, oh, am I like already boring? Like, is something that I felt the first
Mm.
show I did. In fact, that's the reason why I really made the entire set short. So someone said, "Can you do perform for like 1.5 hours?" And I said, "Maybe 1 hour 15 or 1 hour is good." And then I actually played a shorter set. And then people came and told me, "Why was I? We could have listened to that the ambience for a little longer.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the road noise was really nice." It's like, "Oh, do you find it nice?" It's very exciting for me, but I didn't know that. So that feedback helped.
Mm.
And now with some amount of experience doing this, I understand that I don't have to be like anxious about entertaining every second, right? There can be
Mm.
moments where it can be still and people really enjoy it. People who want to engage are actually enjoying that.
Right.
So it is a different kind of brain setting, and I'm still working on that. I'm still new in this journey, but I have um, very good learnings from my previous concerts that
Mm.
and which I'm definitely going to apply. So
Marvelous. Um, Talking about your instrument and how it's made, right? I'm sure it's made from a lot of natural materials, like jackfruit wood, for instance, and then there's some amount of animal skin and stone paste. So today there are a lot of strong synthetic versions that last longer and are easier to maintain. Do you prefer the latter or still choose the traditional natural materials for your instrument?
yeah, for traditional concerts, I do prefer the natural instrument. And But I have invested in a synthetic instrument. In fact, the traditional circuits, it's considered not even an instrument.
Mm.
Only very few people use it. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the majority. I bought it because I think that instrument has potential.
Mm.
I don't know if it can replace.
Mm.
Uh, oh, you have the same Carnatic concert going. So
Yeah.
instead of a mridangam, you put a synthetic mridangam. I think doesn't work.
Mm.
But I use it in recordings where I create context for it. It
Okay.
won't be like a solo track where only that is being played because I feel it does, as of now, the current version
Mm.
uh, cannot replace the tonal quality of the traditional instrument. This is my take on it. But does it have potential? So, for example, I do DTs with it. I
Mm.
do some kind of, if I want to do like an effect around like a swar mandal or like
Yeah.
uh, stuff like that, I do use it. But yeah, not in traditional concert. I've tried that, by the way. I played one traditional concert with it,
Okay.
and yeah, it was. I think we have so much of information when it comes to this ecosystem that it's very hard to replace it with just like, okay, this is the new thing now. So maybe we need a trade-off. We need to maybe play it only for the second half of the concert where so faster tempos are better for me, like where you don't have the resonance ringing for a long time. So
Mm.
Mridangam has a lot of overtones and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So when you play a stroke and when the composition is also slow,
Mm.
the stroke kind of rings for some time, which is so beautiful.
Okay.
The synthetic instrument rings, but it rings very differently. So it's like those sweeteners instead of sugar, right? You have an
Yeah.
aftertaste. But in faster songs, say you have a bhajan going,
Mm. Mm.
and then you're not processing the ringing that much, you're processing the speed and the energy, then I find it's easier for me to incorporate.
And if you had to throw in a few names of some of the popular mridangam makers, who are they and where are they situated and how do people access them?
Yeah, so all of them come from the same family, which is fascinating.
Wow.
And there's a book on this written
Yeah.
by Sri T.M. Krishna. It's called
Sebastian and
Sebastian
Sons.
and
Yeah.
Sons.
Yeah.
And literally, it's Sebastian and his sons.
Nice.
So, and my Mridangam maker's name is Mr. Lawrence.
Okay.
He has made all my instruments, and I've never made any. It's because we it's kind of an intense process because
Hmm.
one head lasts for about 8 months, right? I'm talking about, say,
Hmm.
Mridangam's right head.
Hmm.
And then the filling, the black filling that you see in the Mridangam will last for about 2 months based on usage, 2 or 3 months. So once that black filling comes out, you need to reload that. And then that changes the tonality of the instrument.
Okay.
And then at the end of 8 months, you change the head and put a new head, which becomes a new instrument.
Hmm.
So I don't know, he would have made, in that context of things, like at least 60 heads for me,
Wow.
right? So, and each one is a different tone, and like trying to find the balance between your identity and what tone you want to represent and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, Lawrence Anna is my Mridangam maker, and basically, he is located. If you come to Chennai, there's Vivekananda College, which is very popular,
Okay.
uh, and all the Mridangam makers live in and around Vivekananda College. So you just walk down that street, and you'll find these small shops with some Mridangam accessories. Yeah,
Nice. And there was this recent movie called Sarvam Tala Mayam. I don't know if
yeah,
you've seen it. How did you like the movie? Does it really represent, the life of Mridangam makers the right way?
right.
Wanted to hear your thoughts.
Funnily, the title track of
Mm-hmm.
Sarvam Talamayam is from Unreserved. So
Nice.
Rajiv sir, I've worked with Rajiv sir for some of his jingles,
Yeah.
and he heard Unreserved and he was like, he really liked it, and he said, "Can we use it?" And I said, like, "But you've got the man making music. Why would you need this?" But he said, like, "I'll talk to him, and if you're okay, I'll talk to him."
Right.
And actually, the movie's title track has Savari, stems of Savari in it.
Hmm.
So I do have a connection with the movie. I've also worked in that movie with background score and stuff like that.
Nice.
Um, um, Really, really gracious of someone like Rahman sir to, allow
Yeah.
some, no one to be like a part of that thing. But I feel, with respect to the movie, I think it's a very important conversation to be had, more than
Hmm.
uh, me having a take on it. Because as consumers, we should engage, and we should have certain things that we don't resonate with, or
Hmm.
this should have been this way and stuff like that. But more than anything else, I think it's a really bold move. It is so important to have such conversations. The fact that we're talking about Mridangam makers and we're having a discussion about this, I think that movie has played a very important role. And uh, yeah, tremendous respect for doing something like that, because I also kind of want to operate in that zone of having those conversations that are not so mainstream, be it whatever scale.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I do resonate with that thought, and yeah, I did enjoy the movie. I just had like a few things, like maybe this could have been different or whatever it is, but yeah. And Rajiv sir is, uh, I've literally grown up watching his,
Okay.
movies, and I love his work.
Nice. And I've been wanting to watch this entire movie. Is it available online by any chance?
I'm not too sure if it's there now. At some point, it was available, but now
Oh,
I'm not too
okay.
sure.
Got it. Yeah. And coming back to this particular thought, are you trying to explore some new musical territories right now, which you haven't explored before at this point in time?
Um, are you asking me about the craft level, or
Not
like?
craft level, musically speaking, right? Are you looking at some different kind of a collaboration, or something unique that you haven't attempted before in terms of a sonic palette?
Hmm. So even this show, the fact that I've never worked with a Urumi or a Pambai artist,
Right.
I love that sound.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've never played live with a Dolak artist who comes from the Ghana tradition, right?
Mm, mm,
I've played with Dolak, say, in a Nama Sankirtanam or a Bhajan context. They played very differently.
right.
But when you listen to Ghana music, their grooves are very different. So for me, even these two are very different. And the fact that Unreserved is being played with a live bass, which is also new for me.
Hmm.
I think all of these things. Okay, to basically answer your question, what's interesting is I've understood that going local has tremendous potential in terms of collaborations. In terms of me having conversations, it's also satisfying the person who's trying to have this difficult conversation in his head about society and how we can really be friends through
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
It is really satisfying experience making music with what you have in your city, or like really finding different routes and having those conversations. So I would say, yeah, for this show, Pambai, Urumi, live bass, and though I've played with Nadaswaram before, Unreserved has never had Nadaswaram.
Okay.
So the fact that all of these people are coming in and sharing the energy is new, and yeah, that's what is exciting.
That's great. In the interest of time, I'd like to come to the last part of our agenda, which is the quick rapid fire.
Okay.
It's going to be lighter, and you've got to be quick with your answers.
Okay.
So, first question for you: what is that one song that always makes you cry?
Makes me cry. Uh, Tu Hire, maybe.
Okay. Do you have a favorite guilty pleasure song?
The Way Up, Pat Metheny.
Oh, nice. If you had, this dream ensemble that you'd like to put together, where East meets West, and you had the superpower of bringing the dead back to life, who would you like to be a part of this dream ensemble of yours?
I'll just put one name, just Michael Jackson.
Okay, nice. Do you have a favorite cuisine?
Cuisine, no, based on time and context. I mean, like Indian is something that's
Okay,
always that I go to, but yeah,
okay, nice. If you had to describe your experience being on this podcast, how would you describe it to the listeners?
I think truthful and fun.
Nice. One last question for today. Down in the distant horizon, what would you like to be remembered as?
Can I just take a few words to say this?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I saw this interview of Mammootty,
Okay.
actor Mammootty. It's a very similar question being thrown at him,
Right.
and that really changed the way I think of how you'd be, your
Yeah.
body of work, because I get personal about what I do and stuff like that. So he says, so I'm this actor. So once I'm dead, people might talk about my work for like
Hmm.
10 years, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, and then I'm literally going to vanish at some point. How does it really matter? All that matters is what you feel. So he says this is not, and it really makes sense. What makes sense is at this point, if you're trying to find connections and meaning and
Hmm.
try to fit this puzzle in some way, and you're able to wake up excited and be truthful, and you do have something that you look forward to, that's all that makes sense. I don't think you should put pressure on like building something so that people will remember you, because that puts, a lot of pressure and also a lot of power to the external forces.
Right. That's a beautiful thought. Coming from a veteran like Mammootty, and you resonating with it totally defines, your character as a human being as well. Thank you so much, Praveen. It's been such an incredible blessing, honor, and a privilege. And I really hope to meet you in person for the Mahindra Percussion Festival.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me and really appreciate it.
Take care. Bye.